Hello, welcome back to the channel. It has been just over 2 weeks since we applied the light ceramic coatings to the hood of the car and to the chemical test panel. So today is going to be a 2-week update on the real world performance on the hood, as well as a chemical resistance test on these guys using Built Amber Auto Foam at 2%, which is what we use for ranked reviews, as well as way higher, I think probably around 10%, based just on the rough math I did using the measurements on the bottle. To prove a point, I didn't go to 10% because that's something I regularly do. However, I do make a strong bottle of it as a spray bottle to deal with tires, wheel wells sometimes, just as a high alkaline cleaner. And you use less of it when you use a spray bottle versus a foam cannon. So I use that in conjunction with it as a foam cannon. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to start off with the real world panel, the hood. It gets a wash and a foam. The foam is using the 3D NanoPale shampoo that I regularly use, and it is also washed with that shampoo. I've been playing around with the Simonized shampoo that they sent me, and I haven't confirmed it. I got to reach out to them, and they've been emailed me, answered a couple questions I've had, but it seems like there's something in it that adds a bit of gloss. So anyway, it seems to have something in it that boosts the gloss a little bit. Again, I haven't confirmed it, but instead of risking it, I'm just sticking with my NanoPale. So a couple things I want to go over with the real world wash is the weather changed drastically between the beginning to the end. So I went from piss and rain to like I do not want to even stand outside in this rain, which I normally don't mind washing in the rain because it lets things dwell longer, but it was pissing. And it was hot and sunny, and the panels were warm by the end of the wash. So keep that in mind when you look at the hydrophobic performances between some of the sections. Some panels have massive uplifts throughout. It's not just because it got clean. We do a wet wipe as well, just as an FYI. It's not just that, it's also because the panel temps came way up, the ambient temps came way up. The sun hit the panel like full on, and you'll see it by the end, the difference between the two. So we use the NanoPale shampoo and the foam cannon as a foam because I didn't want to use anything too harsh. Just to let you know how much foam that was. Soap, that's 15 milliliters in 1,000 milliliters of water in that foam cannon, and it makes shaving cream. That is my water and that foam cannon and that soap combined to make that result. There was a big debate about 1 ounce not making thick foam. That's half an ounce. That is the kind of water I have here. Plus that cannon is ridiculous. It makes lots of foam. But so don't read into the foam too much. Don't think I used a really strong concentration. I didn't. I used a really weak concentration. It's just my setup, my water, that cannon, just everything sort of stars aligns for me when it comes to making foam. I have no problem making foam, especially with that cannon. So that's what was used for the foam. We let it dwell for a while, rinsed it off, washed it using the same detergent. 15 mils in about 4 gallons of water. That's the solution that I use. And then after doing the full rinse down, we do a wet wipe and like wring it out. And then get to the final results after that when the panel temps have come way up with the heat and all that other stuff. So my phone's buzzing, people are messaging me, and I need to shut up, but we'll get to that, and then afterwards we'll get to the chemical resistance. But first, let's just do the real world, and then we'll go over the chemical resistance and what I have going on here. Okay, so as you can see, top left, which is Immortal, looked a little slow off the start, looked a little slow throughout some of the rinsing process. After the wet wipe, a lot of the products sort of lifted up a bit. So, but once you factored in the wet wipe and the heat that was coming into the panel from the sun, everything really came up quite a few notches. The only one that sort of stayed really good and just got a smidge better was Phobic. Phobic seems to be leading the charge when it comes to maintaining its performance, keeping that high performance. Even when it was dirty, it was still much better than the others. So very impressed. Again, they're not in equal sections, so there is differences when it comes to road spray, dirt exposure, angles, that kind of stuff. Overall, it's pretty safe to say, despite the differences in sections, that Phobic is currently doing the best, I think, in my opinion. After that, it's Can Coat, and then, Immortal and Moonlight are pretty close as well. And I'd say Katiba and Diamond are also kind of close. So that's sort of where it sits right now. It's only been 2 weeks. It's been hot the last week, but it was rainy the first week. So we're all over the map when it comes to that kind of stuff. So yeah, now we're going to look at the chemical resistance panel. This has been curing for over 2 weeks. It has not left the garage, so there's no environmental temperature issues. It's also been quite warm the last week, so these things are set solid, ready to go. They've not got any variable that could rule out application or anything like that. Work in small sections, everything got to cure. We're going to start with 2% autofoam. If I remember correctly, we do 4 hits, working it in the same way we do the rank reviews. And then after that, there's 2 hits. One is the first hit for both 2% and the 10%, or whatever the heck it is. The first hits are just spray and rinse, just to check. And then we brushed it in just to even it out. The second round is around 10% panel impact ratio for the auto foam, so it's quite strong. The tape was failing and coming off. It's gnarly stuff. It's not nice stuff. It's very strong, but you'll see that there is a little difference, a smidgy difference between some of them, not all of them, but you'll see why these types of products and ceramic coatings, like proper ceramic coatings, just have no place in a chemical torture test. And if they fail one, it's either a really terrible product or a really terrible application. There's only really 2 ways you can go about it. These types of products, like especially these, and we'll get into these later because I've hidden which one's which. I want you just to look at the sections. They don't care about chemical exposure. They're designed to last a long time. They're designed to be hit with chemicals and rejuvenated and all that kind of stuff. So you will see that they are much, much more stout on the average than even the best we've seen through ranked reviews. So let's get into that. And then when we're done, we will go into who is who and what I'm doing with these. Okay, so you've seen the sections. Just get right out with it. The only one that seemed to show any kind of difference in hotter behavior, but it's definitely not failed or in anything like that. It's just a characteristic. Personally, in my opinion, I think it's a characteristic, is section number 2. That one seems to it could flood itself, but then it just sheets it off. It just flicks everything off after, it's like it has a stall almost, like a little delay. So when you move fast over it, it still beads up, it still sheets off. And works pretty good. But if you flood the whole section, it takes a minute to get its bearings and then pops it off. So other than that, everything else looked quite good. And I've rewatched the footage, outside of this, obviously. And I couldn't really pick one, to be honest. Especially when you're working in small sections, you've got tape residue, you've got chemicals the tape soaks up some of the chemicals. So it's really hard to get a perfect shot without just having a separate whole panel. But overall, I wouldn't be really displeased with any of their performance. Just number 2 has that sort of effect where it sort of snags, it sort of hangs up a bit, and then it kicks it all off. So let's get to this. So these were applied on April 3rd, and it is currently April 20th. So that is 17 days of cure, so we're all good there. It was 18.5 degrees Celsius in the shop and 50% humidity, so no adverse conditions, nothing like that. So we'll go from 1 to 6, because there's 6 competitors, and we will talk about these. These are the applicators that I use to apply these to this test panel. I'm pointing over there because it's sitting over there, but the one you looked at. And I put a little dot marking which section it was because I couldn't really write names on here accurately. So section 2 gets 2 dots and so forth. These are to check if there's hardening, because a lot of these come with multiple triggers, because they can gum up or they can harden and take out the trigger. So that's what I just saved these, marked them as to which section they were from, to see if there's hardening. So section 1, which is 1 dot, which is not hardened at all. This is Katiba. So Katiba did quite well, had decent hydrophobics throughout the whole test, didn't really slow down much, didn't really take much hits. So yeah, did well there, and I would expect it, because it is $73 for 100 mils. So it's not exactly a cheap product. Number 2, oh yeah, I gave it a 0.5 out of 10 for hardening, because you can feel a little bit like there was something on there, but the whole thing is still quite soft. Number 2 is Immortal. That was the big guy here. This is a much better value product. Again, this is based on my pricing through Carzilla, because you can buy all of these there. So it's where I usually shop. That one is $74.99 for 236 point whatever mils of 8 ounces. I'm giving it a 7. There is a hard spot. There's a lot more texturing, but it's not rock solid. But it does harden a smidge, so extra triggers might definitely be needed, or some sort of process to flush them out. All right. Number 3 is Diamond Quick Body. That guy there. Also one of the better value products. 100 mils is 42 and 250 mils is 78.99. So you've got options there. Did quite well in the test. Stayed hydrophobic. Again, number 2, Immortal, was the one that had that sort of like stall and then flash off sort of thing, but still quite a rapid moving product. It just didn't have that full surface tension to only bead right away. This one, again, no hardening whatsoever, so I gave it a 0.5 out of 10. Don't look into the ratings of the 10s, because that's just how I quantified hardness of the applicator. Number 4, which is rock solid, like rock solid, does not want to bend. This is Tax System Moonlight, so this is definitely a product where you want to have extra triggers. It is an actual hardening layer on there. It's not one of the more flexible type of some of these types of products. So that's a 10 out of 10, absolutely hardened. That's a 5 there. Number 5 on the panel, Geon Can Coat Evo, and just like Tax System, rock hard, nice yeah, like fully cured, hard spot there. So that's another 10 out of 10. And again, both those guys, the hydrophobic performance, chemical resistance on that panel was fine. They totally held it together, totally stood up to all of that, including a way overcooked form of autofoam. Which means, last but not least, is ADS phobic, which I've seen people say it eats triggers, and I don't doubt that these can affect triggers, but this is not hardened at all. There's just a little bit of texture to the fluffiness of the applicator, but not feeling anything there that would suggest it is ruined or anything like that. It's hardened. So you can still take out a trigger for gumming up or having some sort of a reaction to it, but it didn't harden in my applicator. So take that for what it's worth. The only two that really had massive hardening is Tax System and Geon, and Immortal is up. It's in there. It's definitely got some heft to it, but it's not unforgiving. So that's that. Chemical resistance, I'm not even ranking it. That's just, it is what it is. Again, chemical resistance for these types of products is basically a moot point. You should not worry about strong pre-washes. Sometimes they actually are really needed and necessary depending on the time of year. So feel free to, use your high, low pH, whatever it is you are currently and preferring to use. I know everyone's got opinions on what's good, what's not. But these should be able to handle it if you've applied them properly. So that's that for this one. So 2 weeks in, we've got, I think phobic overall on the real world, which is where I'm going to put my money. I don't care about the results of the chemical test. Phobic seems to be striking a lot of balance here and a lot of strong points. Its application is nice because it's a beading, a sweating type coating, which is so much nicer to spot visually than rainbowing. The lighting you need to get that to look easy, and you can have handheld versions of it, but beading, sweating is just so much nicer, and it doesn't need a ton of time to hit that point, especially when you're working in the correct temps. It's slick on wipe off, so it's not a grabby product. Some of these guys were kind of grabby for me. Again, I didn't focus on getting the most premium towels and experience. I wasn't doing a whole car. I just trashy Costco towels to give trashy Costco experience. But it definitely had a better wipe off experience, better curing experience. It didn't have anything crazy, although if there was, I'll put it on the screen. But I don't believe it had anything crazy when it comes to curing requirements. I think it's 4 to 6 hours or something like that, but which is pretty reasonable. You get 90 mils. It's not a cheap product. That's the one kicker on it. It's got sprayers. I haven't used any of these product sprayers. I literally did this to do all of these tests with various applicators. So if you're going to use the sprayers, you're going to probably just lose more product. I think it comes with a dropper now. I would do that or get a syringe suction, a pipette or whatever they call it, and do it that way onto a different applicator. Mine didn't come with an applicator. I don't know if they do. So that's my thoughts on that. I think that product is in first place, and this car here is going to be getting it. I have this car for an entire month to detail it, which has been super convenient. I can just pick away at it as I want. But I've been filming it. Don't worry, I'm going to try and make a video out of the whole process, hopefully. I haven't done a ton of that, and it's hard with my garage and driveway and whatnot, but it's not a terribly big car, so we'll see. But yeah, this car will get phobic, and I've been very impressed with it so far. And I bought that. I didn't get it from maybe for free. So yeah, but a lot of these products, you can't really go wrong with it. And again, when you're only doing test sections, you're not getting that full experience of, maybe it's a little stumbly, tricky off the start line, but then you can get into a rhythm and then things really pick up. So yeah, Moonlight, Immortal, Can Coat. These two guys here are really easy. They're very spray sealant like when it comes to application and cure and how you sort of use them. So if you don't want to get anything too scary, those might be the most familiar step up. And then the other guys, you're getting, especially these Moonlight and this one having the hardening there. That's where things get a little more serious, but have a bucket of detergent ready. Again, we can go over that in another video, and there's tons of videos about how to coat a car. But yeah, that's where we're at for right now. Phobic seems to be doing well in first place, hydrophobics wise, resistance wise, performance wise. So yeah, pretty impressed with that. But this is going to go for probably quite a while. These are all pretty stout products so far. So yeah, we'll see you in month 2. I don't know, whatever. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.